All right, let's see if I remember how to do this. Time for Sid Six-Zero. Clock, please. Boom! This past weekend, in the sleepy doldrums of the August hockey news cycle, offer sheets made a return, and they did so in glorious fashion. Now, for those who don't know, an offer sheet in hockey is when you extend a contract to a young player who hasn't hit free agency yet, usually for big money, and it also means you have to send draft picks the other way. And it usually really ticks off the other GM. So Saturday night, offer sheets return. The Hurricanes offered Montreal forward Jesperi Kotkaniemi a one-year deal, a little over $6 million. Habs have 10 days to decide if they're going to keep him for that same amount or let him go for the picks. Here's the best part. Montreal tried to do the same thing 2 years ago with Carolina forward Sebastian Aho. Is it petty? Yes. Carolina ownership have long memories, and they're taking a dig, and it's kind of amazing. Thank you, offer sheets. We had a woo for offer sheets? Thank you for everything. If I could hug you, I would hug you, offer sheets. Yeah, hug you. If I could hug Sam Cosentino of Sportsnet, I would. He's probably horrified. He didn't wake up for that visual. Sammy, good to see you. Sam, before I ask you whether or not the Habs should say yes to this offer sheet, I want to let people know the pettiness knows no bounds. The Carolina Hurricanes Twitter account, I'm not making this up, after trying to put one over on Montreal, changed their Twitter account to French, calling themselves Compie Officiel des Hurricanes de la Caroline. That actually happened. I'm not kidding. Sam, I got two questions for you. One, do you love the pettiness of this? And two, should the Habs let Kotkaniemi walk for that amount?
I love the pettiness. It's nice to wake up the hockey world from their sleep and say, hey, look what we've got here. I think it's amazing. And it's funny, the statement was worded the exact same way that Marc Bergevin worded his statement when he offered the offer sheet to Sebastian Aho. And isn't it kind of cool that it's two Finnish players that we're talking about? But in terms of Montreal, I think that to answer that question is, I don't think they really have a choice here but to let him go. And what would happen essentially is, they get another first-round pick and they get a third-round pick. So you're thinking about the Shane Wright draft and you get another ball in that lottery, if you will, and then you hope the Hurricanes, have an awful season so you get a high pick. The other part of that is you can kind of stick it to Carolina because at that point, Kotkaniemi has to be offered at least $6.1 million in the year after. And is he going to be worth that? Well, it's tough to say based on what we've seen in the career that he's had so far.
Shane Wright, a couple things there. Shane Wright, if you hear a name from Sam Cosentino, one of the most dialed-in junior hockey guys I've ever met in my life, remember it because that's the next prospect coming. And, secondly, they offered Kotkaniemi $6 million in this deal, did Carolina. Realistically, for those at home, Sammy, $2.5 million player next season. He scored 5 goals last year.
Yeah, you'd have to think so. But you're also betting on what you think is going to happen. And so oftentimes in sports, we get paid for what's happened in the past, not for what's going to happen in the future. So obviously they see that there is some future to this player. And how about the $20 signing bonus? What number does Sebastian Aho wear?
I believe it's 20.
I believe
it's 20. Sportsnet's gonna make a movie about this one day. Carolina versus Montreal, the rivalry you didn't know you needed, but now you need. To be continued, not the last we've heard on this. Sammy, love you. Appreciate you.
Awesome stuff. All right, thanks, Sid. Take care.
Sam Cosentino, the one and only from Sportsnet. We're not done with this story.